Hey everybody, Adam Davidson, RadCast. Here's Matthew chapter 21, verses 23 and following. Jesus entered the temple courts, and while he was teaching, the chief priests and the elders of the people came to him. "By what authority are you doing these things?" they asked. "And who gave you this authority?" Jesus replied, "I will also ask you one question. If you answer me, I will tell you by what authority I am doing these things. John's baptism, where did it come from? Was it from heaven or human origin?" They discussed it among themselves and said, "If we say from heaven, he will ask, 'Then why didn't you believe him?' But if we say John's baptism was of human origin, we are afraid of the people, for they all hold that John was a prophet." So they answered Jesus, "We don't know." And then he said, "Neither will I tell you by what authority I am doing these things." Leave it to Jesus to take a potentially awkward situation and make it both more awkward and also diffuse it immediately. Jesus is there in the temple. He's teaching. He has this history of healing and proclaiming these outlandish truth statements about God, his Father, and all of the religious leaders are becoming of a ruffled feather, if you will. And so they start asking questions. And it's not even that strong of a question. They're just sort of asking an authority question. It's almost like an aside, like, "Oh, Jesus, by the way, who told you could do this? And where does that authority come from? We're just trying to get the lineage of your credentials here, Jesus. You understand." Or maybe while he was teaching, he said something that just pushed the religious leaders over the edge or something. And so they don't attack him, and they don't drag him out. They don't, sort of expel him. They just ask a question. Jesus, the brilliant rabbi, counters their question with another question. He totally knows what he's doing. They can't answer the question directly. They think it through as humans do. And so Jesus, basically makes it so that he doesn't have to engage in this ridiculous conversation about his authority. Ironically enough, Jesus shows his authority by turning the tables on them. It would be like getting pulled over and asking the officer, "How fast were you going?" And the officer just slinks away. Can you imagine? So here's what the Lord is talking to me about as I study this morning. I have authority discussions in my soul about Jesus all the time. I do. You know that thing where he wants you to do something, or that you shouldn't have done this or that, or that this value or this thing that you have is becoming an idol, and the Spirit of God just sort of says, do you think that really belongs there? And all of a sudden you start asking questions. Well, where are you coming from with that? Can't you see it's a tough world, or everybody's like this? Or you come up with your own reasoning as for why you should do that. We question the authority of Jesus. He's always going to counter, not with hate, not with disgust, but with love, grace, but also truth, and sometimes a stark truth. Now that's RadCast.